Hi friends, so we just recently started focusing on our next unit of study, which we're going to do at the same time that we're working through Unit 7. We're going to be talking about the beginning of Unit 8, which is a focus on geometry. So to get us started with this geometry unit, we are going to focus on 3 different types of geometric figures. And what we're going to focus on today, the 3 different types of geometric figures, are going to be an angle, a line, and a line segment. Segment is going to be a word that we're going to need to pay close attention to because line segment is different from just a line. So you're also going to see this on today's worksheet, your 8.1 practice worksheet. So if you need to, you can pause this video at any time. You can also go back, rewatch, whatever you need to do. But use this information in this video to help you with your 8.1 practice page. Okay? So the geometric figures we're going to focus on are angles, lines, and line segment. Remembering that line segment and a line are different, and I'll explain how and why. So let's start with an angle. An angle is a figure that is formed by 2 rays with the same endpoint. Now that's kind of a mouthful there. It's a fancy way of just saying that we're two rays, your rays being here, here, where they come together. We look at where they come together on the inside of where those rays meet. Here's their endpoint. Here is where those rays come together, and that is going to be our angle. So I'm going to give you some examples. If I draw an array, by the way, I just drew one of these rays. It's a line that stops in one direction, but it keeps going in another direction. So this is a ray that I just drew because it has an endpoint and then it has an arrow. It continues to go in this direction. Now, I need to have 2 rays in order to create an angle. So maybe I want my other ray coming out up here. This little part right there is going to be an angle. But I have different types of angles, which we are going to get to in a minute as well. So there's another angle. It's the space in between your 2 rays, where your 2 rays meet. Next one we're going to focus on will be a line segment versus a line. So a line segment is just a line that has 2 endpoints. You can see that this line ends here. This dot indicates that there's an endpoint there and there's an endpoint there. So this line does not keep going on forever and ever and ever. It ends. It's just a segment or a piece of a line. So the important part to remember about a line segment is that it has endpoints. So to draw a few more examples for you, this is a line segment. It's a line that has 2 endpoints. It does not have arrows. It's not continuing to go on forever and ever and ever. It is ending. Another line segment. Endpoint here. Endpoint. Endpoint there. My last example of a line segment. I have to make sure I have an endpoint on each end of the line to make it a segment. Whereas a line, it doesn't have an endpoint. A line is a straight path that will just go on forever and ever and ever in opposite directions. So where a line segment has 2 endpoints, a line doesn't end. We use arrows to represent a line because it's showing that it's going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. There is no endpoint there. Okay? So line segment, angle. An angle being the figure or the space that's formed when 2 line segments or rays meet. A line segment is a line that ends, and a line is a line, a straight line that never ends. There is no end point. It goes on forever and ever and ever in both directions. So that part right there should help you with numbers 1, 2, and 3 on your 8.1 practice sheet. So now to help us with 4, 5, 6, and 7, to help us with the rest of this sheet, we are going to be talking about the specific kinds of angles. So angles was something that we talked about before. It's the space or the figure that's created when two rays meet. Okay? Now, depending on where your rays or have their endpoint and where they meet, see if I can make that, there we go. You can have bigger angles or you can have smaller angles. And those types of angles have names. That's what we're going to look at right now. We have a right angle, an acute angle, and an obtuse angle. So these are 3 different types of angles. I'm going to start with a right angle first. That seems to be my favorite. It's just one of the easier to remember and learn. A right angle is when the line segments that come together, and they create a perfect square. A perfect square. Like a corner. So a square, for example, I'll try my best. This square, for example, the corners here are right angles. So I have 4 right angles here. So a right angle is an angle that creates a perfect square or a corner. Okay. Now, an acute angle is an angle that is smaller. It's smaller than this right angle. It's a small angle. And the way that I kind of try to remember that is acute. I think of it as like a cute little angle. It's a cute little angle. So you can see that this angle is this space here, this figure created between the line segments or the rays is small. It's a little figure. It's much smaller than what we had here in the right angle. It's smaller. So acute angle is an acute little angle. And then the opposite of an acute angle is our obtuse angle. An obtuse, that angle is an angle that is larger than a right angle. So you have your right angle, you have your acute angle, which is smaller, less space in here in the middle, less space. And then you have, obtuse. See if I can show that. Obtuse. You can see how the space between my hands, which I'm pretending are the rays, is much larger. So there's obtuse. So an acute angle, a right angle, perfect corner, and an obtuse angle. Okay? I hope that that's helpful, friends, and we will check back in on this tomorrow.